What is the deep state?
It is those who pull strings behind the curtain. Almost everybody that is powerful, the corporate sector, the military intelligence, they sort of egg the governments to a particular direction.
Do you see it as a potent threat to India?
Yes, it is. It is. Our neighborhood is being destabilized, particularly in Bangladesh. You got a government or a rule led by a man who was America's ball boy. I think this is what the deep state would be doing. They don't want India to progress economically. They want an India that is with them. It is does not have any nationalistic interests, because every time we talk of nationalism, they make it Hindu nationalism. When you read some prediction, the 2050, India will be number two, China will be number one, and the USA will be number three. Probably sends shivers down their back. America is now trying to make a comeback into the region again. Bagram with their all their weaponry and all, which they can bring back or add to what they had left behind.
Can we see a rise of Pakistan's stature worldwide now after Saudi Arabia, US? And do you think it's punching above its weight?
कहाँ वो और कहाँ हम?
What do you make of Mr. Munir?
He's an Islamic jihadist general, yaar. He is a jihadi.
Sir, we are also seeing some simmering discontent in Balochistan.
There is a problem. That's a huge problem for them. They're probably looking for protection from the Americans by giving, oh, थाली में ले गया था ना वो अपने rare earth दिखाने. हाँ? You can spend 20 years trying to find rare earth, you may not find it. It's so rare.
I want to talk about cricket also. What we saw recently, a guy running with the trophy. Have you ever seen that? And what is
It's hilarious. It's never happened anywhere in the world. So that's what you've got as a neighbor. Banana Republic with a nuclear weapon.
In India, the current government has been saying this, that opposition is playing a big game, link with Soros. So, do you buy this?
There is a lot to be said about that.
Thank you so much, sir, for Mr. Vikram Sood for joining us, and very very thankful to you for spending time for us. I'm starting with my first question, that is on the deep state.
Yeah, okay.
This is the most talked about subject, especially in the region where we are living, and we have seen recently upstaging of governments in our neighborhood. What is the deep state, and can you explain what is it actually?
Actually, this is a term which was first invented, or shall I say used, was in Turkey, where the intelligence chief, the military and the army chief had an car accident in which they also had the drug dealer with them, with all his money, drugs and weapons. They all died. And so the connotation that this is how the deep state functions in close collaboration with each other. But I think the meaning has evolved over time. It is those who pull strings behind the curtain, and it includes almost everybody that is powerful, the corporate sector, the military intelligence, and they sort of egg the governments to a particular direction. And they have, in America, for instance, if you really want to take an example, it's not just the White House or the Congress that decides. It is also the company that is, say, producing an armament in a particular state, Lockheed Martin, who has his congressman in his pocket. And he, along with others, pushes the government for a particular kind of action, which allows them to sell the weapon. Or in other cases, how to handle Israel, how to handle Pakistan, how to handle India. They're all part of a game to control events as they want it, as they would benefit from it. And you have very, very powerful think tanks like the Council on Foreign Relations. And it is something you become a member by invitation, not by applying. So it has all categories of people. If you see a chart of the Congress on Foreign Relations, maybe someday I can send it to you. It has almost everybody that matters except Donald Trump. He's not a member of that. So, and it's a very exclusive upper strata set of, and they're also known as the Wall Street's State Department. So you get what I mean. This is how they operate at behind the curtains, making wars, stopping wars, selling a particular item, or not selling it. It's all a matter of markets, profits, and control.
Sir, earlier we saw in Bangladesh, our elected government is dislodged. Now we saw in Nepal the Gen Z movement. Do you see it as a potent threat to India?
Yes, it is. It is. Our neighborhood is being destabilized, and particularly in Bangladesh, you got a government or a rule led by a man who was America's ball boy for a long time, and now he's sitting there, not even the president, just there as the head of the interim government, and he is now controlled by the Islamists who have no love lost for the Indians and the Hindus. So that's where the spark lies.
And what about the Gen Z movement which we saw next door in Nepal?
I am not too sure whether it was totally started by the Americans, but these movements have a tendency to get after some time get led by somebody. If you remember, the Arab Spring started on its own, then suddenly you found a chap called Wahed Gomail, sitting somewhere in the UAE on Twitter. He was giving guidance and support, and the people were acting on his guidelines. When the Arab Spring in Egypt ended, Mr. Gomez upped and away, then he went back to America. So, is there a link? You had this American counselor who also was involved in destabilizing governments elsewhere, who was visiting, I forget his name, Donald Liu, I think, who came to Bangladesh. Before that, he had gone to, he had also, I think, gone to Ukraine, and things turned around upside down. So there is a connection, but you can't pin it down. You can't write it. This A and B is equal to AB, but it's there. The fear or the belief remains. कि हुआ है कुछ न किसी ने कराया है.
Sir, in India, the current government has been saying this, that opposition is playing a big game in link with Soros. So, do you buy this, sir, that opposition is trying to destabilize playing along with American based Soros?
There is a lot to be said about that. The way the statements are made, the way Soros himself has been talking about us, the way they assist NGOs here, and then you have political statements being made by our political opposition, which seem to suggest a coalition between them and those people outside. I'm sure the agencies concerned would know, but on sitting outside, I would think there is a connection. There is a connection.
Do you think this can be a big potential threat for Indian stability?
An internal threat is always greater than the outside threat.
But sir, coming to our neighborhood again, Pakistan is now sharing a very good relationship with America again. We have seen Munir being invited by Trump twice. We are seeing kind of a bonhomie which used to be there 30 years back or 25 years back. What is your analysis on it, sir?
It, I think, started with Mr. Trump's personal peak when we refused to give him credit for the so-called ceasefire that he brought about. And he's been very upset about that. He's not been, and the Pakistanis, of course, went down on their knee and said, "Thank you, my lord, you've done it for us, and you are fit for the Nobel Prize." So there's a contrast, and here's a man with an outside ego who wants it to be settled, and then he does not want. I think this is what the deep state would be doing. They don't want India to progress economically. They want an India that is with them. It is does not have any nationalistic interests, because every time we talk of nationalism, they make it Hindu nationalism. Okay, so they don't want, because the fear is that you have one big economic power in China, and you have another one in India. What happens to the rest of them? So they've learned their lesson from China. They gave it a lot of assistance, Khula Chutti, and they took advantage of it very cleverly, and now they are the largest economy, I think, in the world. They're going to be. So they don't want that to happen again. And when you read some prediction, the 2050, India will be number 2, China will be number 1, and the USA will be number 3. Probably sends shivers down their back.
Also, sir, another development has happened, the pact between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan. It should worry India? No?
Dekho, Saudis got frightened after the Israelis bombarded Qatar. And the Americans did nothing. So they need a protection. And I think the Americans edged them on the other side, to do a pact with the Pakistanis. Earlier, the Saudi prince used to say, "I don't need nuclear cover. I can always buy a nuclear bomb from the Pakis." Now it is different. The Pakistanis are now seen in their own eyes to be giving nuclear cover to Saudis. So for Saudi Arabia, it is a deal to seek some protection against Israel. For Pakistan, it is money and weapons and a bit of India bashing.
Sir, hypothetically, in case something wrong, God forbid, goes tomorrow, we can't do Operation Sindoor again if...
I think Operation Sindoor has not been called off.
No, but like with this kind of pact with Saudi Arabia, do you
that
think
won't make a difference. I don't think so. Saudis are not
Can
coming.
You explain?
Saudis are not coming, rushing in to help Pakistan.
Why do you say that?
They have a good equation with us. They are not going to lose their market. They're not going to lose goodwill. So these kinds of pacts are open to interpretation also. Because if they attack us, take it the other way around, then does it mean, as a corollary to the agreement, we can attack Saudi Arabia? Okay, you're agreed to defend yourself jointly, so if you're attacking me, I'll attack both. The Saudis are not going to come, and I'm quite sure. They might make polite noises here and there at some rostrum, at some conference. They'll find a reason now, way out.
Sir, coming back to America, this now H-1B fees is hiked. Then we are seeing 100% tariff on pharma. It's clear now that it's no more a trade negotiation. It is very political, and there is some sense of hostility which I can see in the nature. the kind of statements which are not only coming from Trump, but also his aides like Navarro and others.
No, his henchmen are making a lot of statements that are very ugly statements. You don't normally do that in diplomacy. You don't do that in interstate relations. You don't talk like this about your so-called friend. You may want to talk like this about the evil empire of Soviet Union or North Korea and Iran, but here's somebody we take pride in our democracy as the biggest democracy. They say they are the largest democracy, the biggest, strongest democracy, but you don't want to talk to us. All you want is that we should buy their corn and soya, which we don't consume.
And we are singled out to buy Russian oil, whereas others also are buying.
Yeah,
they are not penalized.
Because they don't want to pressurize China because of retaliation that will be stronger. And as it is, the Chinese have retaliated fairly strongly, not buying any soybean from them. And I believe, I don't know whether it's true or not, I read somewhere, either on the TV or saw a statement that the Chinese have lifted some tariff barriers on Indian products. They made it to zero. Okay, so that's the other way of helping India and drawing India into their camp, which they don't want to do.
But do you think India should shift to their camp because we don't have a great relationship with China either?
No, we don't have a great relationship with China, and it's not an easy relationship. It's a tough one, and they're relentless about their strategic goals. So we have to find a modus vivendi to deal with each other, and the Chinese also know that you can't be alone in these kinds of things. I don't know whether this idea will ever sell, that India, Russia, China, three major countries which are contiguous in a way. China has land borders with both. Make a formidable combination.
But we saw that picture of three leaders together, and very next day, Trump has tweeted. So how do you look at this? Do you think it's playing well?
It's played well. It's got their axles up again. And they've now said that they want to sit down in Bagram. That's the thing we have to watch. Because America is now trying to make a comeback into the region again. Bagram, with all their weaponry and all, which they can bring back or add to what they had left behind. I don't know how much remains there. It sort of leads you into Pakistan, leads you into Central Asia, leads you into China, leads you into Iran. So they want to play games there now.
Sir, you are RAW chief, so you know Pakistan inside out. So can we see a rise of Pakistan's stature worldwide now after Saudi Arabia, US, and do you think it's playing is punching above its weight?
How do you define status?
No, but suddenly we are saying
let's examine. I mean, what is your GDP? What is your economic growth? How much? I mean, our Karachi stock, the Bombay Stock Exchange could buy off Karachi Stock Exchange. They used to say that Adani and Ambani could buy off the entire Karachi Stock Exchange. Now that's the level. कहाँ वो और कहाँ हम? थोड़ा उनको आने दीजिए, but it's all right. They're not, but their attitude is not going to change. That is another thing. They may become better off, so be it. It doesn't matter to us. It's probably more satisfying feeling that they won't come running to us, stay where they are. But if they're not going to catch up with us, they're not going to defeat us. So let them have a little slice of the cake. It's all right.
Sir, we are also seeing some simmering discontent in Balochistan, Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. How do you look at these developments, sir, of late?
I think Balochistan is a long problem. It's been there for almost day one. Previously, they had only the Maliks and the Sardars leading it, and not led by the middle class. The lower middle class never had a role. Now it's become middle class. All the Sardars have gone, and therefore it is more dangerous because you got an educated lot of people who are moving around, and the movement is serious, far more serious than I remember seeing it ever for the last 20 years. So there is a problem. That's a huge problem for them. They're probably looking for protection from the Americans by giving, थाली में ले गया था ना वो अपने rare earth दिखाने, हाँ? So you can spend 20 years trying to find rare earth, you may not find it. It's so rare. So let them try and find that out. You'll get some money out of it, and some money will get transferred to Cayman Islands and other places. Some money will get transferred to Geneva and Zurich, London. So they'll have a happy life. That is the level at which they operate normally.
And what about PoK, sir?
PoK has, I'm not too sure whether it is with us or just against the government. There can be two kinds of disputes. You're fed up with the government. Doesn't mean you're going to join India.
But we have seen a lot of statements from the current leadership about getting back PoK.
Yeah. Well, that's a nice statement to make.
But don't you think that we have capability to do that?
No, we're not saying we're going to overrun them. We're saying they should join us. One day they will join us. I think that's my impression. Nobody in authority has said that we're going to take in our troops and go in there. Opposition, not the opposition, members of parliament, other people say we should take it back. So, bolna chahiye.
Sir, what do you make of Mr. Munir?
He's an Islamic jihadist general, yaar. He's like many of their, he is a jihadi. I mean, you must have heard his speeches.
Yes, that's what. So, do you think that
Hindus and Muslims cannot live together? We are jihadis. Can you imagine an Indian general talking like this? Never. Because ours are professional officers. They are ideological officers. And their ideology is to rule. And the definition of victory and defeat is different. If they go into battle, there are 100 people and 90 die, but they capture some territory, it's victory. But if it is the other way around, then it's not a victory. If somebody else comes, takes away your land, but no, I got it wrong. First one was the correct one. That अगर land नहीं छोड़ा हमने, हमारे लोग मर भी गए, तो हम जीत गए. That's it.
So, do you see some trouble in relationship between India and Pakistan in coming days because of this kind of mentality?
I can't say it will come, but there's never, you can never presume that it will not happen again. You can never presume that it will happen. You have to go by the assumption that they are there, they will create mischief.
At last, I want to talk about cricket also. What we saw recently, a guy running with the trophy. Have you ever seen that? And what is
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And now he says, I'll give it to you if you come and take it from my hands.
Okay. So have you, sir, ever imagined this happening in any of the tournaments?
It'll never happen anywhere in the world. That's a banana republic. That's a banana republic reaction. So that's what you've got as a neighbor. Banana republic with a nuclear weapon.
Right. Thank you so much for talking to us, sir. And I will connect with you again sometime, maybe later.
As and when you like. As and when you like.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.